Before we get started, we'd like to thank Allianz Trade for sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Allianz Trade is the trademark used to designate a range of services provided by Euler Hermes. Euler Hermes is the global leader in trade credit insurance and a recognized specialist in the areas of surety, collections, structured trade credit, and political risk. For more information on Allianz Trade, Surety, visit their website referenced in the description. Now, on to our show.
You're listening to Let's Get Surety. Let me hear your bonding talk with Kat Shamapande.
Hey everyone, it's Kat Shamapande. Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Let's Get Surety. Here with me today, I've got my co-host, Mark McCallum, CEO of NASBP. Hey Mark, thanks for being on.
I'm excited to be here because we're going to have a great discussion with NASBP leaders.
I am so excited to have a group of our past presidents on with us today. We've got Matt Cashion, president of the Cashion Company. Hey Matt.
Hey Kat. Hey Mark.
We also have Carl Dohn, president of Dohn and Maher Associates. Hey, Carl, thanks for being on.
Kat, glad to be here. Nice to see you too, Mark.
Thanks.
And last but not least, we have Spence Miller, who's now retired. Hey, Spence, thanks for being on.
Kat, thank you very much. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Spence.
So we are so excited to have you guys on with us today. I just wanted to start off by talking about how you guys got into the surety industry. And if you want to tell us a little bit more about your agencies as well, that'd be great too. Matt, you want to kick it off?
Sure, I'd love to. So right out of college, I just went to work for my dad. A lot of people say that I kind of won the birth canal lottery. Fell into it, family-run business, as so many of us have kind of done. So worked there all my life. We're still there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Carl?
I needed a job, basically. And I interviewed at a couple of places, and one of the places was working for Safeco Insurance Company in Cincinnati, and the other one was Procter & Gamble in the marketing department. So I took the surety job, which was half the amount of pay as the Procter & Gamble job.
Why did you take the surety and take half the pay?
Everybody asked that. So the recruiter that hired me, but it was because I got to use my college education and my experience on the farm, dealing with equipment, being outside. Stuff
That's
like
awesome.
that.
Yeah, so it just seemed like a better fit.
Yep.
All right, Spence, how'd you get into surety?
Well, much like Matt, my father was in the business, and he got tired of me mowing lawns and painting houses over the summer. So one of my summers in college, he goes, "You're getting a real job," and he made me come down to the office, and I knew how to double-sided copy when they didn't have that feature. Oh. So I learned from that, and then just never left.
Well, and you recently retired, Spence. How'd you get out of surety?
I just said, I'm not doing this anymore, and called a bunch of clients. Like they said, if you could see your own funeral, it's sort of cool. If you tell people you're retiring, it's an interesting conversation.
Do they let you leave surety?
I had to contractually give them, but no, some of my customers are still like, hey, but essentially retired.
So we know a little bit of how you got into surety. All of you are past presidents of the NASBP. Matt, I think your term was the first in the group we have here. When were you president? And when you were president, what was your theme?
Wow, it's so long ago now. Actually, I was president, went in 2003 to the 2004 term. And my theme was deserving success through education, outreach, and advocacy, with the emphasis on the professional development of the trade association, which was really my pathway into NASBP and the leadership role that I was fortunate enough to have. But the importance of advocacy and the government relations, because we were legislated into business, we legislated out, and then just everything that we need to teach people about the benefits of surety. And so that was kind of the theme, and outreach and going around and traveling and working with other trade associations, ASA, AGC, ABC, inviting them to our stuff. So that was a theme, and it was a long time ago now.
Feels like a little while or a long time?
Yes. It does seem like a long time.
Yeah.
It really does. There's been so many ups and downs in the surety industry since 2003 and 4, and so many changes in our lives, retirement, passing of family, and so forth. So, yeah, it's been quite a while.
Well, Matt, I don't know if you remember going to the Private Industry Advisory Council.
I do, at Longboat Key.
Yeah, and presenting. That is a group within the AGC of America that is actually public and private owners that kind of serve as an advisory board for AGC. And I actually happened to be at AGC at that point and got to witness Matt talking about the industry to a really august group of owners. I don't know if you recall that.
I do. That was quite a while back as well. So I did get lots of opportunities like that. And I felt like it was my responsibility as leadership of NASBP, whenever we were presented an opportunity to work with another trade association, whether it's AGC or ASA or ABC, anybody, we needed to go. We needed to go speak to their committees, speak at their conventions, do educational efforts, even with an AICPA like Spence and I did, which I felt was kind of ironic because I majored in college in accounting. It was one of my majors, and I thought, well, I'll sit for the CPA exam. And I thought, well, that's a really difficult way to get 3 days vacation from the insurance business. Won't be doing that again. And then, so obviously I never got my CPA designation, but within 7 years, Spence and I are doing presentations that qualified for CE at an AICPA convention. So kind of came full.
And if I can add to that, I dropped accounting as my major.
Did you?
Yes. I'm like, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life.
What'd you change it to, Spence?
Just finance. Not much farther, but it's sort of, I tease people, I'm like, I have a Bachelor of Arts degree, not a science degree. So I know the art of this. I don't know the science behind it.
Well, Spence, when were you president, and what was your theme?
2010 to 2011. My theme was passionate advocacy. Matt was my program chair.
Oh, that's awesome.
And actually, I was Matt's program chair. So it's sort of a nice, not intentional continuity, but again, it was the getting people excited about our product, getting our users excited about our product, and that was what we tried to accommodate or accomplish. Parts of that had to do with getting better communications to the members, which happened to be in process before I got to where I was. It just came out during my term, but things like that.
How about you, Carl?
Well, my term was 2012 through 2013.
Okay.
And I'd been involved in various committee roles in the association, primarily membership for, I think, 22 years or something. It was a long time. And just had the opportunity to do it. It was, I started going to NASBP meetings the first year I was in the agency side of things in 1981. So been to a lot of them, been on different committees, did different things. And it was just something really influential in my career to be involved. And then you gradually get more responsibilities and more opportunities to do things. And they asked me to get in the chairs, and it was one of the best experiences I've had in my whole career. So
you got a lot back from being a leader.
I did.
In the association.
You get more than what you put in, no matter, And my theme, I think, was raising the bar.
That's terrific.
Well, we had done so much already. The 4 or 5 years before I was in the chairs, I think we had a big transition in the association. Big improvement. It became much more of an educational thing. We had the 515 membership program for the young guys. We started having a lot of things we did for the members and for the industry as a whole. And it was just natural to kind of say, all right, we got it all the way up here. If we do a little bit more, we do it by pieces, keep raising the bar. So.
Well, was there one single thing during your term as president that you recall, maybe something that happened in the industry, or something that, for example, I don't know, dealing with claims, or trying to make that more transparent?
Yeah. I believe you were at AGC at that point in time, possibly, and maybe we had a meeting at Longboat Key that was addressing claims, and there was a bit of a controversy as to who should really be the author of this piece of information that we want disseminated throughout the industry to kind of beat back the perception that our product was not user-friendly, that we didn't pay claims, that we were really of no value in the construction process. And so, like most things where people are involved, it became a little contentious as to who should take credit for it, who should author it, what it should say, and so forth. So it got to be a little contentious between AGC, Surety Association of America, which is how it was known at the time, SFAA now, and NASBP. But particularly in between SAA and NASBP, my year as president got really difficult.
But through those discussions, didn't it bear good fruit?
It did. It did bear fruit, and so
banana?
the arm wrestling contest between our two organizations ended up. AGC wrote the piece,
right,
instead of the surety companies or the surety producers, kind of the actual users of our product that delivered on them, that were the people signing the indemnity agreements, that were risking everything they had in order to get a surety bond to do these construction projects. They were the ones that authored the piece. I think it really worked well.
And that publication, I think it's like AGC Guide to Contract Bond Claims or something like that. That's still out there, but still a good educational piece. It's available, I think, from our website and also AGC's website.
Absolutely.
We'll make sure we include a link to that in the description for this podcast for anyone who's interested in taking a look.
Yeah, be great.
So, Spence, did you have any controversial issues during your year as president? Was there anything going on, like individual surety that?
Well, we had. There are a couple things, individual surety being one, of trying to make our point without being accused of being inflammatory or discriminatory, things like that. That was an issue that there's been plenty of publications on now that we've been along with SFAA, have been very informative to our membership and actually to our end product users about the pitfalls of this is what you can run into. I think that it was mine tillings. Is that the proper way to say what the asset was back then?
Yeah.
The refuse?
Yeah, coal refuse.
Yes.
Apparently was behind
It was an
some
asset.
of the, right.
It could be today, but that was one. The non-confrontational, but that was when we started the DOT. The first round of DOT mentoring programs happened. I remember I was also, during my term, was when you became the director of NASBP. I'm not saying that was a confrontational thing either. We were very, very happy to have that work out perfectly. And then the funniest part where I finally figured out I'm in so far over my head was when you invited me to come, when we sat down with AIA when they were redoing their bond forms.
And those bond forms are still out there
Still
today.
out there today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are great stories to talk about how impactful being a volunteer leader at NASBP can be, that you get to shape what is going on and impacting your industry.
Correct.
I know that's true for you too, Carl.
I did. No, I was blessed to have an opportunity to encourage others to put together the Level 3 program at the Surety School. And a lot of people had tried that before, but I think we had gotten enough people educated high enough that they wanted more. And they weren't getting enough of it through our seminars, although we had great seminars. And the sales one, the legal one. I mean, we had other things, but they wanted more. So I picked the right people, Tom Padilla, to start with. I said, you're going to do this. I'm just going to be the jerk behind it, pushing, And we got 27 people involved in putting the thing together. And I said I was going to do it in April, and the first school was in July the next year. So,
and we still have the Level 3 school. We've got one coming up this summer.
Right.
You could check that out. I'll include a link out to that if anyone wants to go ahead and get registered for the Level 3 Surety School. We'll be in the warm Phoenix, Arizona.
It's a dry heat. It's late July, early August. It'd be great.
It's dry heat.
Rates are fantastic.
But it's very sunny.
Well, the good thing about Level 3 in Phoenix in July is that the class is actually being held indoors.
Yes, that's true.
Right.
So air conditioning will be provided at no cost.
That's right.
I thought that was an upgrade.
We're throwing it in for free.
Well, obviously there's a great legacy there, that everything that you did during your presidencies had reverberations, and is something that's still there shaping the industry. What kind of advice would you give a young producer, first about their career, and secondly, about getting involved in NASBP and maybe taking the next step and deciding I want to get more involved. Matt, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. First, going back to my path, mine was on the educational front. While I was fortunate enough to have my father include me and take me along to regional meetings, and then I got to go to my first annual meeting in 1987 when Jack Curtin was president in San Francisco. But I'd also been to the Surety School Level 2 in early February of 1986, and then was invited back in 88 to audit, which is when and where I met my dear friend Spence Miller. And from there, I just kind of nosed my way into the tent on education, and that was my pathway. All that to say, advice for a young person who wants to get involved and has a desire to give back to their industry and participate in this trade association, even to the point of leadership level and being president. Pick an avenue. It doesn't have to be education. It can be government affairs. It can be any of the great programs that NASBP has going, and then dedicate yourself to that. Make friends along the way, and just put yourself out there. And then find some of us older guys. Hate to say that about ourselves, but we sought out at the time the older guys, and they were very, very good about including us in events at a national meeting, at this and that and so forth, and including us and dragging us. I think they call it mentoring now, something like that. Yep. I think it's going to catch on. So we didn't even know we were being mentored.
No, and I don't even
think they knew.
I was
going
to say I don't think they knew they were mentoring us either,
or else they just couldn't shake us.
But some of the best times were after the meeting. You're sitting around in a lobby or a bar area, and you get to listen to these guys tell their stories about what they did in the business, what the experiences they've had, and how they handled things. And I thought that was more beneficial than anything, just being around Jack Curtin, just hearing him talk about things.
Because then you can learn from their stories by being near them and listening to them talk.
It's a whole different education, so it was fun.
So you guys aren't intimidating? Like people can come up to you?
True story here. So I've been to the Surety School, and I'm thinking I'm the hottest thing that's come down the aisle. And I get there, and there's this other young guy there, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing there stealing my thunder? And we ended up being fast friends, but John Hoffman, who ended up being the president, somehow decided that I would be a great program chair for his annual meeting in 1994. So I'm really wet behind the ears, and I said, John, are you sure you want to do this? You don't even know where Arkansas is. He goes, you're right. I said, yeah. He doesn't know where Arkansas is, and he really didn't. But we pulled it off and had a great meeting at the Greenbrier, and back in the day when we had longer meetings and keynote speakers on Wednesday and so forth, and Jack Kemp
Breakfast.
And Mary Lou Retton and Sam Sneed running around. And it was a lot of fun.
Expensive golf lessons. Expensive golf lessons from Sam Sneed.
So my advice is connect with some older people. Let us drag you along. Include you in all the committee meetings, the groups. We're not trying to keep anybody out. We want to find our replacements, and the opportunities are there.
Well, that's why Corey started 515. We needed to get a program so that we could give the younger people more opportunity to be involved earlier and quicker, and sort of drag them into it so they wouldn't be afraid to be involved.
Well, plus we needed younger people.
Well, that's why we did it. I mean, it's the only way you're going to have your replacement is if you train them.
Carl, do you have any advice you'd like to add?
Yeah, don't be afraid to do things. Get outside of your comfort box, because my involvement with NASBP is from day one been outside of my comfort box. So our comfort zone, whatever you want to call it. And it helps you grow as an individual, but it gives you more experiences, and you know more, you learn more, and the more you know, just don't be afraid to be involved.
Yeah.
Do things, try things. You'll learn from the experience, and it'll help you in whatever you do every day. And the best thing for me was being involved in NASBP. My career would not have gone as far as it did personally at my agency if I hadn't been involved, because you learn things that you can bring to your customer and help them, and that's the whole idea.
Yeah. Spence, any advice you want to add?
Well, I was thinking, listening to what Carl said, so much like Matt, I came up through the professional development education ranks, and my firm was a member. One of of our principals was a past president, and finally they're like, okay, get involved. And the one thing about, I was completely much like Matt, I was out of my element. I am not a public speaker, and I'm teaching at a Surety school. The one thing is that the people that are here will support. You know, you can do whatever you want. You're going to get support so that you won't fail. There may be discomfort in what you're doing, but
There's mistaken material.
Yeah. So the first time I actually met Matt, I'm getting ready to run my first Surety school and teach, I should say, and he comes up to me and goes, by the way, there's a mistake right here in your material. And it was material that I was teaching that I was like, okay, this is not my rocket science moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you. I think, who are you? And then we were inseparable after that. But it's the NASBP staff, the leadership, everybody's here to help everybody just do a better job and be as successful as they can, both within the association, but also, you know, if I have a question on how do I deal with a bond? Let me rephrase. If I had a question, I have to get the right tense. I could just call Matt and go, hey, how do I do this? What do I need to worry about? And free advice. So, and then free friendships and things like that. It's just it's an interesting way of the support mechanism that this association offers that I believe is unique to other industries.
I thought it was free.
That's because I only buy drinks at company functions.
But Spence brings up a good point too. It's not just he'd ask Matt.
Yeah.
He knew people in Southern California. If he had a problem down there, he could call. You can call any of them, anybody around the country. And it really, I'm a one location agency.
Yeah.
I was a little guy, but I could get some answer out of New York. Just call Bill Maroney, and I could get help from him. I mean, you had connections across the country, so you had a lot more power than
just through your NASBP
just
involvement.
through the membership. You could come up with answers, and that's what they need, answers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, just as a point of clarification, Carl's office is 10 minutes from my house. So that didn't prevent either one of us from talking to each other and saying, hey, what are you doing on this? Or do you know that? Kind of thing. So it's while we're competitors, we care about the product. Everybody wants to get it right. We used to say at the Surety School, you're only as good as your weakest member. Mm-hmm. So we'd approach those opportunities with the idea to make people as good as they are, even if they're our competitors, because there's nothing wrong with fair and good competition.
Well, and that's such a unique thing I don't think you find in a lot of other industries, is that willingness to educate and work with your competitors the way it happens in the surety industry.
We'd agree.
It broadens our reach, though. I mean, I had a situation, and the fellow that helped me out is here at this meeting, and the first one he's been to in 22 years.
Really?
Wow.
And I had a contractor customer, travel from a small town in Arkansas and follow a owner to Puerto Rico. Needed a project. He needed a bond.
Wow.
I really didn't know a lot about getting a bond in Puerto Rico, but I knew who to call.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one phone call to Ruben Jordan, and made the magic happen and saved my bacon. All because of the relationship through NASBP.
Wow.
I've executed bid bonds for other agents in other states, dealt direct with their customers just to facilitate things, and I can guarantee that the person I was doing it for never once thought I'd try and steal their business.
Right. And it's good that we train everybody how to do it right.
Yeah.
Because you can compete against somebody if they're doing it right. If they're doing it wrong, they may mess up the whole deal. So we want them to be smart about things too. So
Yeah.
you're not dealing
That's a
with
great
an
point.
idiot.
And ethical.
Yeah.
And ethically.
Mm-hmm.
We have an ethics committee for that too.
Yeah.
Raise the bar, you might say.
Well, yeah, always raise the bar ethically, but
Rising waters float all boats.
do what?
Rising waters float all boats.
Oh, they do.
That's right.
They do.
Yeah. Well, it has been amazing having you guys on with us for this episode. I think that's a lot of good advice for new agents to take away on why they should get involved in NASBP. Did anyone have any thoughts about just changes they've seen in the industry or things they're looking forward to seeing in the future?
The changes, there's been so many. I mean, Mark tried to bait me with that one question over the claims. I know. No, not really. But there have been so many changes. Technology's huge.
Yeah.
Since we all understand blockchain and how it's going to impact our business.
Would you like to tell us more about blockchain?
Yeah,
I'd love to.
I'd just like somebody to tell us. I believe we are having
if
someone
you'll just
tell
give
us.
me your credit card, the internet will do with it what the internet does, and you'll have blockchain.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about
What
it.
denomination?
Yes.
In rubles?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's crypto. You'll love it.
But I would agree
Traveling
with
back
your
to
comment
Orlando
about
for
technology.
AGC
Just the
National
fact that we are transitioning from something that people have to touch and have in their hands to feel legitimate can now be transmitted electronically, verified, confirmed that, it takes a little of the travel away, but it does. We have grown with the times. We haven't put our heads in the sand and said we don't need to do this.
Well, I'll add to that a little bit if you don't mind. I think the COVID-19 pandemic put us 10 years down the road getting that done because it was a slow process. So many owners wouldn't accept an electronic bid bond or an electronic performance and payment bond. And we had MWRD in Chicago.
I was just thinking
he had to go
of that.
downtown and sit in the
sign a book
conference room and sign them
really?
several books
in front of
their attorney.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And now they take it electronically, which
That's a
IDOT's
huge
been doing for
difference,
years.
yeah.
You go all the way back to the Hawaiian dredging case.
Yep.
Where they were going to require wet signatures on the power of attorney.
Yep.
I even flew to D.C. The year I was either first vice president or something with all my powers of attorney to go testify at a committee to show them how that's just not feasible.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've gone from that case to now
Electronic signatures.
everything's electronic. And you're right. I mean, the pandemic where we were forced to.
Well,
the need was there.
We were pushed to do more of it ourselves, but the owners had to start saying, "Well, I don't want you coming in." They didn't want us coming into their space either.
Yeah.
They were happy with electronics.
And it's all interesting. We'll see how the courts interpret some of these things in the future if legal situations arise where things are challenged as far as the legitimacy of a PDF that have an original signature on the bond or the power or whatever. And we'll see how the courts rule on that. That, too, will kind of be the winds of change for us. But once blockchain gets here, we'll be fine.
I've seen some pretty big contracts signed in Puerto Rico now electronically. I mean, $200 or $300 million bonds signed electronically. So it's coming.
Yeah, a lot of it's going to depend on what the owners want. Because that's who we're there for.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Arkansas DOT, everything's electronic. The contracts, the bid bonds, but everything is electronic.
Same in Illinois. NDOT too.
So a lot of big changes in the surety industry. I just want to thank you guys for being on with us. It's been so much fun talking about your presidencies and kind of the changes in the surety industry. I hope we can have you guys back again sometime as guests on the podcast.
You've been listening to Let's Get Surety. Let me hear your bonding talk. Brought to you by the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. For more information about the NASBP and its members, visit nasbp.org.
Before we go, we just want to thank Allianz Trade again for their generous support in sponsoring this episode of Let's Get Surety. Allianz Trade is the trademark used to designate a range of services provided by Euler Hermes. Euler Hermes is the global leader in trade credit insurance and recognized specialist in the areas of surety, collections, structured trade credit, and political risk. For more information on Allianz Trade Surety, visit their website, referenced in the description.